Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so during work today, when I wasn't focusing on work, I was pondering Donald Trump's recent reflection on his legacy. Where he said he's at the bottom of the totem pole and he wants to make it to heaven and get this a peace deal put together so that, he can make his argument that he belongs in heaven. And I was reminded of the 5 stages of grief. When I was going through my divorce, it was recommended by people I was talking to read through the 5 stages of grief and try and understand those to help me sort of process through, go through that process. Now, for those that don't know, the 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And with the way Trump is acting, it's quite clear he's in the bargaining stage, right? If I do this, I get this. He still thinks that heaven's a quid pro quo type of deal. So when I was saying, when he was contemplating that, it tells me that, he's been given some basically bad health news where they say they can't do anything for him. And he was even saying, I don't have much time left, or, I'm not doing well, as I believe is what he said. And, on the bottom of the totem pole and they need to do stuff. So, yeah. Now, that's for normal people. Trump is a narcissist. So today I Googled, how does a narcissist deal with the stages of grief for their own demise? And what I'm going to read for you is what I got from Google. And there's 5 stages that they have for this that are similar to the denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, but they're different because they're unique to a narcissist. And I do believe that Trump suffers as a malignant narcissist, amongst many other things. I wouldn't say that that's the only thing he suffers from. So give me a couple minutes here. I'm going to read this to you. And I want you to just sort of listen and ponder what Trump is probably going through right now. Okay? Now, again, I did not author this. I just Googled it. There was an AI summary and then a bunch of stages here. Okay. While not experiencing grief in typical stages, a narcissist facing their own demise grapples with a series of psychological crises that uniquely define or redefine the process. Their reaction is not about grieving a loss, but rather about the ultimate narcissistic wound, the annihilation of their carefully constructed identity and loss of control. Their fragile ego collapses, triggering shock, denial, rage, and a terrifying fear of being forgotten. So far, so good. Stage 1. This would normally be denial, and for a narcissist, it's shock and denial. The collapse of grandiosity. A narcissist experiences a profound shock when faced with a terminal diagnosis or the reality of their own aging and impending death. This shatters their illusion of immortality and specialness. Next is the maintaining the facade. This is still part of stage 1. Their first instinct is to deny the situation to protect their fragile ego. They may refuse to accept the diagnosis or ignore medical advice, acting as if nothing is wrong to maintain a pretense of invincibility. Controlling the narrative. The narcissist may use death dangling as a manipulation tactic, where they use the threat of their impending death to control and extract favors from others. Okay, so I think for that stage 1, we would probably never see it. His inner circle, his family, they would have seen this, but we're not in that, so we're not going to see this stage. And we probably won't see this next stage either. Stage 2, which would normally be anger, and this one is rage and external blame. Anger. Outbursts of anger. As reality intrudes, basically as you start feeling worse and worse, denial gives way to intense rage. The narcissist cannot tolerate the feeling of powerlessness and death that death represents. Attacking caregivers. To cope, they may lash out at family members, doctors, or anyone trying to help them, blaming others for their health problems or bad luck. In a hospice setting, this can lead to verbal abuse of staff. Existential shame. This rage stems from a deep-seated existential shame about mortality and the frailty of the human condition. They feel that dying is a personal humiliation. Okay, again, we wouldn't see, I mean, he gives outbursts of anger all the time, right? We wouldn't see it, but you can imagine what Susie Wiles might see. You might imagine what his spawn might see. All the folks that handle him in the White House, they're all seeing this. If he's gone through this, and I'm sure he has, they've seen all of it. You know, he has his good days and his bad days, but probably when he got that diagnosis, if they didn't know about it, his days were just 10 times worse, and they probably had no clue why. Third, the fear of dissolving. This would normally be the bargaining part. Loss of narcissistic supply. As their health declines, the narcissist loses their ability to secure the admiration and attention they need to sustain their ego. Dread of insignificance. This triggers a profound fear that they are dissolving or disappearing. For them, not being the center of attention is a terrifying non-existence. Remember how Trump insults people? I don't know that person. You know, they don't exist to me. Need for attention. This may increase their demands for attention, becoming more difficult and demanding to compensate for their loss of power. It's an attempt to regain a sense of control. I think, you know, the tariffs could be an example of that as they go through, Trump goes through what he's going through here. And again, that would be the bargaining stage. Stage 4, this would be depression, but in this one, it's kind of a balance between bargaining and depression. Stage 4, panic and disintegration. And I think this is where Trump is right now. Powerlessness. The fear of death becomes an overwhelming panic as they confront their absolute powerlessness. They can no longer manipulate, charm, or control the outcome. Obsession with legacy. Here we go. They may become fixated on their legacy, desperate to ensure they will be remembered as special. They might even attempt to rewrite their life story for a positive reception. Last attempts at control. In their final days, narcissists often escalate manipulation. They may leave their estate to enablers or to their pets rather than to those that they abused as a final act of control. Now, we think about Trump wanting his Nobel Peace Prize and sending National Guards to cities to sort of cement his reputation as a strong man who's fighting for law and order and that type of stuff. A Nobel Peace Prize winner, you know, that all this stuff. This is all legacy stuff. And he's been focused on legacy stuff recently. Stage 5, which would be the last stage. A dismissive acceptance. Not acceptance, a dismissive acceptance. Not true acceptance. A narcissist's acceptance is not a peaceful resignation. It's a defensive maneuver to protect their ego. A transactional view. They may reach this stage in a superficial, dismissive way, viewing their own death as a mere inconvenience. And finally, no true redemption. A narcissist's life often ends with the same bitter, difficult personality they always had. They rarely experience a moment of true, redemptive clarity or express genuine remorse. To me, when I look at where Trump is now with all his actions and everything that's going on in this country, I believe we're in stage 4 of his accepting whatever it is that's inflicting him. What does that mean? It means shit's going to get worse. Right now, again, he's threatening about sending the National Guard to Chicago and to other cities. Is he going to do it? Yeah, he is. Well, and we'll be reading on this. Yeah, he is. Why? Because he's trying to cement his legacy. You know, the tariffs are trying to control things. I've heard somebody say that he's invested in the bond market and then he's doing market manipulations to make money on the bond market. I mean, how much money do you need? You're not going to be around for much longer. It's not like you need that extra $1 million in order to pay the nursing staff or something like that. You know what I mean? But that's just who he is. Screwing over other people, gaming the system, gathering as much money as possible. And again with the he's worried about the whole Epstein thing. That's going to tarnish his legacy that he can't ever recover from. And so he wants a Nobel Peace Prize to, outweigh the shame that the Epstein probe would put on his name. That's why he is so obsessed with smashing the Epstein thing down. And it's not like it's not like it would get him kicked out of the presidency. He's not going to be arrested or held accountable to that. It's his legacy he's worried about, because this will tarnish it. And then it'll make him seem like he wasn't special and he was irrelevant. Okay? So that's what we're kind of dealing with here. So I'm going to ask Spirit, describe to me kind of Trump's mindset right now with his mental state with regards to his health issues as he understands them. Okay? So come on down. Entertainment purposes only. Let's take a look. Foundation of the reading is the Eight of Coins. He still wants people working on his health. I think he hasn't. He's in that parts of him goes back to the denial that there's got to be something out here. There's got to be an experimental drug. There's got to be something you can do. I mean, remember, even if you're you're in the traditional stage where you go through denial, anger, acceptance, bargaining, acceptance, and depression acceptance, you can go backwards and forwards. There's one spot where you'll spend most of your time, but just because you may be working towards bargaining doesn't mean you don't fall back to denial. So part of it is working on his health, but also it's just so funny, making money. But I think, you know what this is? Okay, wait. I'm going to back that up. This is an apprentice card. The apprentice card repeats the task over and over again until they become the master. The work that he's doing here, he's working on his legacy. And he's trying to hammer it down and work on his legacy and make it better and better all the time. Cross with the Two of Wands, him running out of time. Not having enough time to do what he needs to do. Underneath it all is the Three of Cups. And you know what? Here's the thing that's really driving him, is that he wants to be celebrated for what he thinks are his contributions, and what he fears is that we're going to be celebrating his failures. Okay? I'd have to go back and look in my August readings on Trump, because I believe on that third week of August, I think it was the 18th through the 24th. I think I had the Three of Cups show up on there, and I thought that was going to be a really significant week for Trump. And to me, when I look back on that week, a lot of stuff happened, but the Epstein stuff came out, or the Maxwell testimony came out, which is not a big deal, but him sort of acknowledging that week before that he was worried about his legacy and stuff, he was starting to tell us that he's dying. And that Three of Cups could very well be us celebrating what appears to be his ultimate end here. In the past, you got the Ten of Swords. Yeah, he's done. He's done and dusted. And he knows it. There's no coming back. He's been let known that there's nothing they can do to help him. There's no rebirth here. This is it. You're done. Current situation. Why is he working on his legacy, even though he doesn't have time? Because he wants to be remembered fondly, just like the Google search I just read over to you. He wants to be remembered fondly. He doesn't want to go being forgotten. He wants to be remembered fondly. Overarching energies, the Knight of Cups. So now He's reaching out to people not out of sincerity, but out of, the false friend. You can help me. Like, he wants Rubio and Vance to negotiate the peace settlement between Ukraine and Russia because he just doesn't have the energy or health to do it. So now he needs people to do it for him. But I also think he's offering more things to his base because he knows his base would be the type that would defend his legacy. Think about the stuff Trump is doing with the Smithsonian. He wants them to redo their displays and their history because he wants to show that slavery wasn't really that bad. And why are you being so negative on it? The whole legacy of the U.S. He's kowtowing towards his biases, his white supremacy, basically. And if he can get the Smithsonian to change the narrative on civil rights and slavery, well, then he can change the narrative on the stuff he's done and portray himself in a better light. It's twisted logic. I'm not saying it makes sense, but it makes sense to him. Lesson to be learned at Ace of Swords. This is now his legacy. This is now his sole goal in life is to redefine who he is. He's in that redefining stage. And where was that in the I think that was number 4, right? Last attempts. No, it was even attempt to rewrite their life story for a positive reception. That's exactly what this is. Rewrite your life story for a positive reception. That's where he is right now. He's gonna. This is what it is. This is why he's doing what he's doing. Outcome is going to be the cherry. And he will push this as far as he can. Now, he can kind of control the narrative, but this can also go spinning out of control. Trump does not have the energy or the control that he needs. This will spin out of control. Kind of like this is why he gets infuriated with Putin and Zelensky. Or why he got infuriated with Iran and Israel when he declared that there was a ceasefire, and then the two of them continued launching missiles and drones at each other. He was pissed because he couldn't control their actions. He was going to force Putin to have a ceasefire, and he walked away without a ceasefire. So what does he do? He blames Zelensky for that. And all the European leaders had to come in to Zelensky's aid, so he wouldn't do that. So what does he do? He punts to Vance and Rubio and say, "Here, you guys go deal with this failure," and that way he can blame them for him not securing a Nobel Peace Prize or not getting peace because, well, he would have done it, but he delegated it and they failed. I think he understands that it's not happening. He understands it's not happening, which is why he's punted on that one. So now he's going to focus on sending the National Guard to various blue cities because then he can at least say, "Look what I did. I tried to take crime and make crime go away. It makes the world safe. That should get me into heaven." What does Trump think about his legacy right now? What is Trump thinking about his legacy? Ace of Wands. He needs to take control of it. He's probably concerned. He's concerned. He wants to be shown that he takes care of everybody, but he's concerned because he's lazy and he needs to work really hard at it. But the problem is he's lazy and entitled, and he's never had to work hard in his life to get anything done. He's always delegated it. So now when it comes time to get things done, he surrounded himself with a bunch of freaking idiots. Freaking laser beams. He surrounded himself with he doesn't even have sharks with laser beams. He doesn't even have, mild, ill-tempered sea bass. For you Austin Power fans out there, I hope you're chuckling along with me. He surrounded himself with idiots. And he's delegating to idiots. And guess what? Idiots can't get stuff done. Pam Bondi's the only one that's getting stuff done for him with the Epstein stuff. But yeah, he's delegating, trying to save his legacy, but he doesn't have people that can get the stuff done. Ace of Swords. Let's got to save my legacy. Let's go, go, go. Current situation. He is going to be. This is a very binary card. Either you succeed or you failed. And if it's anything but success the way I see it, it means you've failed. Oh, jeez, overarching energy. Guess what? Nobody's coming through for him. Everybody is a huge disappointment. He's surrounded by idiots. He's only now understanding it. I can't find good help these days. He knows what he needs to do. He has the wrong people around him to do it. So what do? You have to make up stuff. Everything he's doing now is just trying to. It's not even the magician of manifestation, because he's great at manifestation. This is the illusion. This is, or more to the point, I think that magician card isn't him. That's the people around him lying to him, saying they are getting the stuff done. And, trying to save themselves from being yelled and screamed at by this maniac. Because, he can hear Death's footsteps walking down the hallway, and he's in an absolute panic. Because he's run out of time. And he knows he's run out of time. And so, he's trying to waylay Death and lay these traps and everything. And everybody's saying, oh, yeah, we put we called the Ghostbusters. They're lying in wait in the hallway. And there ain't no Ghostbusters lying in wait in the hallway. That, just literally, people will tell him anything he wants to hear. And he doesn't have the time, the energy to check it, to double check it, to see if that's the case. In some ways, like it's like Putin with the war. They just lie to him, and he believes the lies. It's very hard to see otherwise because you're insulated from that. What does Trump want to do next to the United States to seal his legacy? King of Swords. Yeah, this is going to be back to the law and order president. My way, the highway. I'm going to call the shots. You're going to do everything. Basically, throw out the Constitution type of mindset. Yeah, Five of Swords. I just said my way or the highway. My way, do everything I tell you to, how I tell you to do it. Death card. It'll be the death of him, honestly. And his legacy. And the High Priestess, she's stuck in there again. Secrets being revealed. Yeah, he has got a couple of things going on. He is going to call all the shots, basically until he dies. And there's no questioning his orders because it's his legacy on the line. But underneath it all is the High Priestess. There's too many secrets. And those secrets range from the secrets Trump is trying to prevent us from finding out to the secrets people have on him that they're using to manipulate. You can think of it as the High Priestess could be like the blackmail. He's pulling out all the stops, all the blackmail that he has, all the compromise that he has, every tool, every shred of leverage that he has at his disposal, he is now using to the umpteenth power. I asked what was next, but it's kind of describing why he's doing what he's doing. But basically, that King of Swords, that's full authoritarianism right there. He's going to go full authoritarianism for as much as that he'll be allowed to do. What is the counter to his full authoritarianism? What's countering it? The courts. The court system. The legal system. the judicial branch. Now I understand you're going to say, but the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court doesn't rule on everything. It's the courts that, no matter how full dictatorial he's going, the courts keep getting in the way. The same courts that he's used to slow down and derail cases against him is now derailing all the stuff he wants to do. Every cockamamie scheme he comes up with, the courts just knock it right back down. Two of Cups, the agreements. It's kind of like the norms, the social norms. You can't do that. The law doesn't allow you to do that. We're going to put a temporary stay on this and look at it further, which brings his thing down. And the King of Pentacles. Oh, cynically, it's the best justice system money can buy. But the other thing with the courts is that the oligarchs also don't want to go live in Crazy Town. It's not good for money. So it's even like businesses and stuff like that. Big money is coming in to help with the court case. Because remember, we also have to contribute money for like the Mark Eliases of the world to bring lawsuits. So money coming in to thwart Trump's worst impulses. Underneath all the Knight of Cups. I think this is a variety of people coming together and using the judicial system to bring down his dictatorial ways. And, in some ways, even big American money doesn't want a king, doesn't want a dictator in this country. So, the wealthy people are benefiting the most from Trump, but the wealthy people also understand that they got wealthy in this current system, and if we go to a different governmental system, they may no longer be the wealthy ones. So they are quite willing to protect their assets by trying to keep things as normal as possible. Okay. One last spread spirit. Tell us what we need to know about Trump, his stages of grief, and no, what is it that we need to know about this that I haven't asked a question for, but you think is something incredible? This card, I got two cards coming out here. One flipped over. Is it three? Okay, come on down. I'll just use these three cards. Reaching out together. Big money. Wheel of Fortune. So this is about people coming together. This is bipartisanship. Oligarchs and fate. Karma. In some ways, it's kind of like the strange bedfellows that are going to have to come together in order to save this country or prevent this thing from slipping into a form of anarchy. Let's throw some qualifiers. Fighting energy, rioting in the streets. It could be that we actually start seeing a lot of civil unrest, and that could be what spurs this. Expect civil unrest. There's got to be agreements. There's got to be the bipartisanship. We've got to have bipartisan actions to stop civil unrest. Civil unrest is bad for both red states and blue states. We've got to calm things down. And if that means sending this guy away or kicking this government out, then we've got to do that. The other thing is you can't always blame the immigrants for things. So it's good, and it might take a while before you can stop this process of kicking the immigrants out. But that's another thing that needs to be addressed. And that's probably in the karmic part of it. And then you got the minor arcana death card, the Five of Cups. Nobody's going to be happy with what's going on here. Nobody's happy. Nobody wins on this one. We lose a lot. We don't lose everything, but we lose a lot. Underneath it all is the High Priestess. The secrets And maybe this could represent the best that's yet to come that we just don't see yet because we have to get through this mess first. Okay, 30 minutes. I've gone on long enough. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful. If you want to, if you go to the post section on my YouTube page, you'll see in the post section is where I posted up that Google search on what is a narcissist, like this, how do they frame it? How does a narcissist deal with the stages of grief for their own demise? If you want to read through that and have some time to really process it, I think it's useful. The man is dying. And he's dying sooner rather than later. And he's going to lash out. He's already been lashing out, but he's going to make our lives chaotic, as that Five of Wands was just showing in the last spread. And he's going to try and divide people as much as he can. And so understand that that's the goal. And almost, again, trying to cause like a civil war or civil unrest. And the best way to combat it is not to succumb to it, as tempting as it would be. To want to go out there and do more than hurl insults at the National Guard. Peaceful protests is how you deal with it. It shows that you care and that you're taking activity, but you're not provoking anybody, because those in Trump's orbit, they want you to provoke them. They want an excuse for the National Guard to open fire on crowds. They want another Kent State type incident. And they want to be able to justify it because it'll fire up their base from their point of view. Okay? So don't give them what they want. That doesn't mean you can't protest, but just do so peacefully and be careful of those instigators that come out trying to cause problems. They could be anarchists. They could be right-wing provocateurs infiltrating what would otherwise be a peaceful protest. Okay? Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.